conservative pop culture is having a moment. Oliver Anthony's Men North of Richmond shot to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart and made national headlines just weeks after Jason Aldean's controversial Try That in a Small Town, it wasn't controversial for most people, topped the same chart. Anthony's song even prompted a question in the first GOP debate.
As we sit here tonight, the #1 song on the Billboard chart is called Men North of Richmond. It is by a singer from Farmville, Virginia, named Oliver Anthony. His lyrics speak of alienation, of deep frustration with the state of government and of this country. Washington, D.C. is about 100 miles north of Richmond.
Rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. Your dollar hangs, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, the rich men.
So, Governor DeSantis, why is this song striking such a nerve in this country right now? What do you think it means?
Yeah, so there's all those guys, Tommy, and their red ties, and one woman. Clearly an example of the forgotten man and woman, if you will. I'm also amused at that this is conservative pop culture, when why isn't it just the culture? Right. We don't do that. So you've got a dynamic here where the American people, it's kind of more of a reflection of what our general culture is and what our lives are, separate from the rich and the powerful.
Well, those that control pop culture don't like the fact that so-called conservative pop culture is dominating. But I think it's an important moment. And beyond that, the criticism that Try That in a Small Town, Men North of Richmond, have been getting from outlets like Rolling Stone and others, calling it right-wing. If you listen to these songs, Men North of Richmond being a perfect example, it's talking about the working class, blue-collar Americans. I'm perplexed because I thought that's what Democrats proclaimed to stand up for decades, and generations and generations. I thought that that was the base of the Democrat Party. So you're now telling us that that is right-wing? We'll take it, I guess. So now to tally the things that are now right-wing, patriotism and the working class, forgotten Americans. I guess we have to take those into the conservative fold. We'll be happy to do that. I guess they can have Bud Light.
Yeah, Joe, this is troubling in a certain way because it is still an indication that there is a desire to kind of shut out a half of America, that they don't want to know about the suffering that's going on, and that entertainment, song, art, we don't have Bob Dylan, so this is not necessarily new, right? With Joni Mitchell, you have Bob Dylan, we remember the 60s. Is this a resurgence of that, do you think?
Political thought through music, as you said, has been going on for decades, but because it's coming from a populist point of view, not a conservative point of view. I may be writing a book called These Ain't Your Daddy's Donkeys. It's all about where the Democratic Party has gone from one place to another. One place being for the small guy, for the working man and woman, to the party for elites. You had Kamala Harris holding a grassroots fundraiser on Martha's Vineyard just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's where the party has gone. You know, this song is a rallying cry, right? And it used to be that music was escapism. Jimmy Buffett passed away this week, the great Jimmy Buffett. And when you go to his concerts, it was to escape and have a good time. Now you see with these songs, as far as Aldean, as far as this latest one with North of Richmond, as far as Oliver Anthony is concerned, that's what we're talking about at this point, right? It's a rallying cry, and social media provides the jet fuel.
Well, Dr. Jeanette, isn't that kind of part of it? Now we've got a system where Americans can lift up any kind of music and have it be #1. That is kind of new with this. Is this, what do you think this is the core of America at this point, or is this just a surge?
I think it is, and that's one of the reasons why I love country music, because if you listen to the lyrics, Americans have lived the experiences of what these musicians are saying, and they're expressing themselves as a voice for all of us. And it expresses the traditional values that, most conservative people express and live day by day. That's faith, that's family, that's patriotism. So these traditional values that we live by, we're seeing them now put on us on a platform that so many of us have been just reaching for so long. And plus, I always like to say, music is like food and medicine for your soul, and it can increase, your spirits. It can increase your mood. It can make you help you with your blood pressure, reduce stress, has lots of therapeutic values.
Now, I don't know. It's like Taylor Swift, on the other hand, giant, right? The Eras Tour, everybody loves her, kids love her.
Yeah.
Can't we have both, right? Isn't this the melange of the American culture? It's not conservative or liberal. It is about art and about making it about the American experience.
Yeah, and kudos to Radio West Virginia, little tag there, for helping to bring Oliver Anthony to all of us in this exceptional song, this voice that has so much authenticity and tells a story. I'm with you. I love those songs that tell stories. And in this one, I think a lot of people listened to it and identified with it. And you can see that in some of those online videos where there have been collaborative efforts to draw on his music and to say, I identify with this, and people watching it online. You can see that all walks of life. But he definitely got into the frustration that people feel, regardless of being Democrat, Republican, this middle ground that a lot of people can identify with, frustration with government, taxes, and then touching on some of the more controversial aspects of welfare that drew in, really made this a conversation piece beyond his exceptional voice.
And the
really
inspiration, because you don't need to be a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce. You can actually do music, and it can be about your life, and it can be terrific. All right, everybody.